I just filmed this and I went to turn off my camera and I had a glitch and the file did not save. So we're filming this again. Hey folks, if you're new here, I'm Dawn and this is Tangled Together, where I talk about my yarn and knitting hobbies as well as the other things in life that get all tangled up in that. It's end of August. September is right around the corner. Halloween decorations have started popping up in stores. Pumpkin spice is available. We just this morning, as of filming this, dropped our daughter off at her first day of preschool. So if I've got weird vibes, that's what's going on. I have feelings. There were tears. She was a little upset when we left. I held it together until we got out to the parking lot. And just, my baby's growing up. Where did time go? So yes, but, with all of that, like, fall vibes happening, even though it's still, like, super hot out, it's making me want to wear cardigans. It's making me want to knit cardigans. And so I thought I would do a video talking about a few of my favorite cardigan patterns. Yay! So first of all, let's talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Ava cardigan by Petite Knit. I made this up in Knit Picks Wool and Cotton. I've talked about it in other videos, so I'm not going to go into a super, like, details about it. But yes, I think this is a good, like, standard looking cardigan. There's nothing too super special. Like, it's I did it in this green because I wanted it to be, like, a little bit of a statement, fun cardigan, but also something that would, like, go with a lot of different clothes in my wardrobe. Yeah, and it's got the 2x2 ribbing on it. I will say I do notice that sometimes it falls off my shoulders, which I'm not upset about, because I also think, like, this is a look, especially, like, when it's buttoned, like, this is a vibe, or, like, the one shoulder look, like, that feels like a nice vibe. I did also knit this in, I think, a size smaller than the recommended, because I didn't want the oversized look. I wanted it to be a little bit more fitted. So if you're looking for something that has this vibe, but is designed to be a little bit more fitted, I like the Granite Cardigan by Katrina Lindhagen. And apologize to any of these designers if I mispronounce your names. Doing my best. This is designed to have a little bit more of a fitted look. So if you're a little hesitant about trying to figure out what is the right size to do based off of the oversized, maybe go with this. Now, if you want something that doesn't have this 2x2 ribbing, because I like the 2x2 ribbing, but I think it does have a little bit of a more casual vibe to it. But if you want something that I think dresses up a little bit more, has a little bit more sophisticated, I would either go with the Paul Cardigan by Morika Knit. It does say that it has, like, a ribbing on the back neck, but then the rest of it is this double knit neckline, and there is, like, ribbing at the bottom. Or the Champagne Cardigan by Petite Knit. The Champagne Cardigan, I was originally planning on knitting that when I saw somebody else wearing the Ava cardigan and was like, that's what I want. Pulling up the sleeves because it got too hot. And you will notice as I'm going through all of these, there are almost all top down, and all of them are V-neck. I'm a V-neck cardigan person. I think I like the way they look on me. I like the V-neck when it's buttoned. You still get, like, a peek of what you're wearing underneath. And I think it hangs very nice when it's unbuttoned, which honestly is the way I wear it, like, probably 80% of the time. I live in a fairly warm place in coastal Virginia, so it's like a layering thing more so for me than necessarily, like, super warmth. And yeah, and I always find with crew neck cardigans, like, those top buttons kind of flop around on me. Okay, so if you're wanting something that has a little bit more texture, that, like, just looks like a super squishy, cuddly, I want one of these cardigans so bad. But I don't know how to do brioche or half fisherman ribs. But the next two I'm talking about are the Agnet cardigan, again by Petite Knit. There's a lot of Petite Knit in this list. Or the Seasons cardigan by Ozetta. Now the Agnet cardigan by Petite Knit is a brioche cardigan. It looks so squishy. I love the texture of brioche. I tried doing brioche knitting once while trying to do a cardigan for my daughter. And I need to try it again, because I was trying to do it like in fairly early postpartum, and that was not the time to learn a new knitting technique when you're super sleep deprived. Let's see if I can balance this mug here and not knock it off. But I love the look of brioche. I know it's like super squishy, and especially like depending on the fiber content, like just so cuddly and like big hug. So yeah, maybe that's something I will try. I will put on a like goals list for next year. And then the Seasons cardigan is knit in a half fisherman's rib. Again, a technique I have not tried. But I've heard from some people that like some folks prefer half fisherman ribs or find that easier than brioche, but it gives you a similar kind of look. And the one that I have saved is actually the cropped and slightly more fitted of the Seasons cardigans. There's also one that is designed to be a little bit longer, oversized, which I think looks a lot more like the Agnet sweater, since Petite Knit does so much oversized. But I like the idea of maybe having something that's a little bit more fitted, a little bit more cropped. Like that would look super cute with a pair of jeans or even like worn over a dress. Also, the Seasons cardigan, the neckline is done at the same time as the rest of the sweater. I love that, because then you're not needing to pick up 100+ stitches and do that when you're like, the end is in sight. I just have to do the neckline. And wait, how many stitches do I need to pick up? Oh no. And especially if you're doing a pattern that doesn't tell you pick up this many stitches per row and you're just trying to math it. No, those aren't for me. Okay, so the next two sweaters that I have on my list are still kind of that like mostly stockinette, but have a little bit of something to them. So the first one is the Pivonine by Audrey Borigo. This is mostly an all-over stockinette, except for along the sleeve and then down at the very bottom is this really nice eyelet detail. I like that because it gives it a little bit of character. I think it makes it a little bit more of like a statement cardigan. And something about that too also to me says a little bit more like this is a hand knit versus like the Ava cardigan. I love this cardigan, but it does, I think, can look potentially store-bought, just because it is so clean lined and simple. Folks who aren't familiar with knitting or don't know I knit may not realize, hey, I made this. And sometimes it's nice to have something that looks like, yeah, I made this. I spent hours, hundreds of hours on this. I want people to know it. The Pivonine is also, it's a free pattern. The designer recently made all of her patterns free on Ravelry, and it's a sport weight. Which I think is really great if you're looking for something that's a little bit more all seasons, doing that lighter weight fabric, as well as, you know, if you knit it up in something that's like got a linen or a cotton in it, that's got that breathability, then that would be a really great cardigan, like all seasons cardigan, or a cardigan for somebody who lives in a warmer climate like me. Maybe I should make a sport weight cardigan. Maybe that's something for next year. All right, and the next cardigan is the Savasana cardigan by Winter Weathers Knits. Now, this initially I glazed past it on Ravelry because the picture for it, it's a fairly dark yarn, so it was a little bit hard to see, but it's got this, it's mostly a stockinette, but the neckline has this really pretty cable all along the neckline. That I think just gives it this really nice character. It looks like something that adds a little bit of sophistication. Like, you could dress it down, could dress it up. This cardigan is a little bit on the longer side, and it has pockets. I'm not usually a fan of cardigans that have pockets, but if it's the longer kind, those hit me on a better spot than like a more cropped where it's like, yeah, I don't need a pocket on my hip. I don't need my hips to be bigger. But you could also leave the pocket off as well as do it a little bit shorter. Now this one is knit up in a fingering weight, so it is going to be a little bit more of a time investment, but you are going to get this nice, like, lightweight cardigan. Again, perhaps a really good one for those who live in warmer climates, or if you're looking for something that's good for an all seasons. It also doesn't have buttons. I think it's the only sweater on here that doesn't have buttons. I like buttons on my cardigans, but that's also because I think I tend to like the cardigans that like come in a little bit more. I like the option to button my cardigans. I rarely button my cardigans, but I'm realizing I like to have the option to, but yeah, I don't usually wear them buttoned. This next cardigan I really want to knit up. I think it's the newest pattern on my list, and it is the Fidalgo cardigan by Michelle Frazetta. This is a knit up with a broken rib stitch, so it adds this really great like all over texture. But broken rib stitch is very easy to remember, and I think I also saw her talking about like the sides that you do purl are done on the wrong side, so you're actually not doing as much like purling as you might think. You're doing a little bit more knitting that way. I don't mind purling. You know, doing cardigans is not a big deal. I don't worry about trying to do them in the round. But I do know some people aren't a huge fan of purling. But I think it's, from the sounds of it, the way that this pattern is laid out, you're not going to be doing as much perhaps as you might expect. It also has a button band. It doesn't mention it on the Ravelry page, but I think I remember her mentioning in a video, the button band is worked at the same time as everything else. Love that. My one critique is it looks like, you know, it's not like, it does look like the construction of the button band might not be the most sturdy. Like, it's not a double knit button band. So depending on your buttons, depending on the yarn, you might have a little bit of like pulling a little bit or with the fit. Minor complaint, and who knows, might not even do that. The yarn weight does suggest a worsted, but I know a couple of the samples were knit up with a heavier weight DK, so it's going to knit on the faster side and be one of the warmer sweaters. But yeah, I love this. Like, I definitely want to knit a sweater. I want to knit this cardigan, maybe in a purple. I have a bunch of purple sweaters I have made and have planned. Maybe like, ooh, a brick red. Brick red might be fun in this. Let me know your thoughts. If you're looking for a free all over brib cardigan, the Ripple by G is available on the Hobie website, and it's got this all over simple lace. It looks like a lace pattern that probably is going to be easy to memorize, so you're not needing to reference the instructions and chart all the time. This is knit up in a DK. This looks like a really good transitional time of year, maybe even all seasons cardigan, especially depending on the fiber choice you make. And yeah, with that lace, it's going to breathe. It's going to let air flow through a lot easier, but it's knit up on some like smaller needles for being worsted weight, so you're not going to have this like big open super airy. It's going to let a little bit of air through, but still I think provide a little bit of nice coverage for like those cooler summer evenings. Speaking of good like all season, all year cardigans, the Jean cardigan by Joanne Gershicks looks fantastic. I'm pretty sure one of my friends is knitting this up because I know she was talking about it, and I saw pictures of a cast on. I think she's knitting it in a cotton linen blend, if I'm familiar. She recently moved to Italy and I miss her so much. The suggested yarn for this is merino and mohair, so you're gonna get some like nice halo and everything, but I think it would look really good in just like plain wool or cotton or stuff like that. It's lace and sport held together, so DK weight, and it's got this all over ripple lace pattern that just looks really fun. Depending on the yarn choice, I could see in a solid, like a very good like dress up, dress down, like something that you could throw on over a sweater in the evenings if it's a little chilly or you're going to be indoors. But also like maybe if you've got like a self-striping or variegated, that would look really pretty, I think, in this all over lace. Yeah, it's got just a very nice, like, it's got a little bit of a like balloon to the bottom of the sleeves, just a very nice feminine look to it. Okay, now we're going to talk about 3 different cable cardigans. First is the Drizzle cardigan by Sous Vide Knits. This is not an all over cable. This is, the front is kind of stockinette. The cable is on the back, which I think is a nice, like, if you want to get into knitting a cable cardigan, but maybe don't want the like investment of the all over cable, as well as like some of the complications that come with trying to do an all over cable and like increasing for the armholes and all of those things. Like a cable in the back is simple and maybe a little bit more approachable. It does have pockets. You could probably leave these off. It's knit up in a DK weight yarn. I think this to me is like a really nice like fall winter pattern. I like that from the front, it looks like kind of a normal cardigan, but then it's got this cable pattern on the back. There's that like little bit of fun extra detail. Yeah, a solid looking cardigan. I'm not itching to knit this, just because the other cable cardigans on my list are a higher priority, but I do see where this kind of cardigan could kind of fall into my greater wardrobe. Okay, so this next one, the Sweet Cuddles cardigan by Natalie Palik. I'm probably saying that last name completely wrong. This is on my list. I would like to make this because it's this like big, oversized, all over cable, drop shoulder. I would like to make this. I have the pattern for this because I started making one for my daughter and I got to casting on the armholes and got very frustrated with the pattern because it did not tell you to pick up a specific amount of stitches or pick up 1 stitch for every row or 2 stitches for every 3 rolls. It just told you to pick up in multiples of something. And I think this, I don't know if this is the problem, a similar problem in the adult sizing. It might just be in the kids. It might just be something that because the kids has such a wide range of sizes, they just didn't figure out all of the math for it. But I'm somebody who, if I pay for a pattern, I want you to figure out all of the stuff for me. Or at least give me how many stitches to pick up. So that has been hibernating for over a year now. I probably just need to frog it because I think my daughter is way too big for it by now. I do love the look of this pattern and I do kind of want to make myself one, and was planning on making myself one until I saw this next pattern, which is the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I've seen so many people knitting this up. Like, if you watch knitting YouTube, you've probably seen people talk about the Book Club cardigan. Suggested a worsted weight yarn, so that's lace and sport held together. It's got this really great all over cable pattern, really interesting cables. I know Sari Nordlund is a good designer. I'm actually working on one of a different design by her, and having really great time knitting that up. I'm not running into any of the like, how many stitches do I pick up for the sleeves? Like, it's all there in her designs. I've loved all of the different projects I've seen knit up in this. I have some yarn earmarked to purchase for this. I just haven't yet, but I know the yarn and the color. I want to get some Knit Picks Eco Wool in, it's not Winnie, but it's the color that's very similar to Winnie, but is a little bit more gray than brown, because I think this is really good. I've seen some book club cardigans done in like a red or a blue, very vibrant blue that are gorgeous, but for me, I think this fills a neutral cardigan kind of hole that I have. I have a store-bought neutral cream colored Oliver Cable cardigan that I like wearing. I think it's like a cotton blend, and it's starting to kind of not like just not wear all of that well. It's starting to reach the end of its life, and I kind of have a greater goal to replace the like cardigans specifically, but also sweaters that I have in my wardrobe, replace the store-bought ones with ones that I have made. So I think that is going to be the next cardigan that I make for myself. Probably going to make it this fall and winter. That I might purchase the yarn for that fairly soon so that I can cast that on. Because while it is still warm here, and I am starting to sweat just wearing this cardigan, even though I'm inside in the AC, I'm not at the point of wanting to have like a full-on sweater quantity of yarn sitting on top of me while I knit it. But casting on a cardigan and just having like a skein's worth seems doable. So yeah, I think like, and then it's also like, hopefully it'll be done by the time it's actually cool enough to legit wear a cardigan. And I can wear it over the holidays. I can wear it when it is cold and I want to just cuddle up in a nice warm hug. And have a mug of actually hot tea, because this is cold tea, because it was hot when I started filming, but then my camera sabotaged me. Please do not do it again. So there you go. Those are some of my favorite cardigan patterns, ones that maybe someday I will knit up, some that I definitely have plans for, and some that are on like a someday list. Yeah, I would love to know, have you knit up any of these patterns? What did you think about them? Are any of these on your queue? Do you have specific colors that you're planning? Do you have like it all picked out plus the buttons, or are you just kind of like going to pull something from your stash and work that way? I think I'm discovering that I am a pattern first, then yarn person, not yarn, then pattern. And maybe we'll talk more about that in a future video. But yes, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to follow along a little bit more with my daily stuff, I'm probably going to be posting a lot more there because my kid's going to be in school, so I'm going to have more time to like create things and like take pictures of my knitting and not just be like following tiny human around all day. So yes, you can follow me on Instagram and Ravelry. I'll put that stuff up there. If you enjoyed this, I really hope you subscribe so you can catch my future videos that will probably be coming out on a more regular basis. Again, I have more opportunity to film. This is actually our home office / guest room. I usually have not been filming up here. Because my daughter's room is on the other side of this wall, so I've usually filmed like after she's gone to bed or early on when I started this channel during her nap times, and I did not want to wake her from her nap. But while she's at school, I don't have to worry. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.